So with that said, we're basically in the first 5 minutes. I say let's get it started. What do you think?
Let's go.
Okay. So cocaine pharaohs, the ancient drug trade. Where do we start? In a one-page article appearing in some German magazine, this German lady in 1992 and two of her colleagues reported findings of cocaine, hashish, and nicotine in Egyptian mummies. The findings were immediately identified as improbable on the grounds that two of the substances were known to be derived only from American plants. Cocaine from coca and nicotine from the Latin name nicotina, whatever.
Nicotiana, tobacco.
Tobacco. Absolutely. I didn't even catch that. The suggestion that such compounds could have found their way to Egypt before Columbus' discovery of America seemed patently impossible. Did you want to add something, or should we continue?
No, this goes to show right here that even this is what I mean by the purpose of a person like Crip Jesus. Even when it comes to good, bad, drug, a prayer rug, a scripture, even a sandal, they don't want to ever give us credit for anything. They can't even admit. They said these were toxic. You know what I'm saying? These were people who studied toxins. These were toxicologists, and they went to look for this and said, "No, that can't happen because that's from over there." You know what I mean? But we're going to show and prove today how all that's BS. You feel what I'm saying? There's a bigger secret here.
Absolutely. So, the study was done as part of an ongoing program of investigating the use of hallucinogenic substances in ancient societies. The authors themselves were quite surprised by the findings that were reported in Discovery in 1997, but stood by their results. That's a little typo if anybody wants to know, but stood by their results despite being the major focus of criticism in the following volume of this German magazine.
Of the so they were suggesting, they went as far as to suggest that the archaeologists were getting high up in there, and they probably left some powder on the mummy or left some, tobacco. But it wasn't until they started going deeper and deeper in. They tested, like, their skin, tested more mummies, started testing like royal pharaohs, and they was finding tobacco, hashish, the coca plant. Like, it's a difference between cocaine and the coca plant. You know what I mean? We're gonna get into that though. But they were finding these traces of substances from these plants that we have grafted out now and used for drug use to get all happy and dance and be silly and goofy. And they found traces of these things within people of different rankings of society. You get what I'm saying? So when they first found it, they were against them. They became like ridiculed where they were from. Oh, y'all in there getting high, leaving stuff, get out of here. Because even though the masters and ones who paid for this knew what was going on, they already know about the ancient trade. We're gonna get into that. But that's how the media does you. Just like now, like when Enqi was talking about, you do something, they'll use some drugs to try to kill you off, or they'll try to smear your name, smear campaigns, they'll demonize it. You feel me?
Yeah, I found it to be very amazing, to have that underlying issue. Well, they're going to think we're getting high and we dropped our cocaine on these mummies versus they were sober, regular scientists just doing their research. But the implication, because everybody's saying, before Columbus, nobody was over here, and so on and so forth. So now,
that's the funny thing I want people to focus on here. They weren't doubting that they was getting high. You know what I'm saying? They went on purpose to test them. These are people who deal with toxins. They went on purpose to test them to see what they were getting high on, what they were using for rituals. And they said they can't be that because they can't be superior. They can't be sophisticated. They can't be traveling and dealing with trade from all over the world. They haven't reached that level.
Right.
In Africa, no.
Right. Which made it such a hard pill to swallow. And for me, it just blows my mind because this is where we go into cognitive dissonance. The information is right here in front of us. it's just a hard truth pill to swallow. And I totally understand that, but I think we need to really hone in on this because this is a big, smoking gun, as we were saying earlier. This is the proof that the whole situation was prior to Christopher Columbus. We got to stop that. But let's continue on.
Yeah.
It is interesting, too, that the concentrations of the compound suggest uses other than that of abuse. For example, modern drug addicts often have concentrations of cocaine and nicotine in their hair 75 to 20 times higher, respectively, than that found in the mummy hair samples. It is even possible that the quantities found may be high due to concentration in body tissues through time. You and I were talking about this, and one thing that came up is the progression of drug testing within our generations, because we knew, and we're all very familiar with the urine sample for a drug test. And it wasn't until a little bit later that science got sophisticated enough to provide the hair sample drug tests.
Yeah. Yeah. So hair, this goes back to the locks and the whole Nazarite. Hair is an extension of yourself. So, urine and all those things, they come in, they go out. If I'm not mistaken, I remember I saw your video about the urine being what's excess in you, and the toxins that come out the back being the waste. So
correct.
That's a whole different process. Hair, because we become so vain and into just how everything looks and every material, hair is actually a part of us. You know what I mean? We're so used to cutting it and grooming it and styling it. But
right.
Hair, like our skin, our nails, and everything else, and our teeth is a part of us. So just like they can pull a tooth out, you know what I mean, and find out all type of stuff about you, they can pull a strand of hair and do the same thing.
Right. Going to Marvel, the Incredible Hulk, when they cloned him to make that other guy, I forgot his name, the bad guy version of the Hulk. But anyway, they did that through
Bane.
I think that's Batman. But yeah, they did that through a hair sample. but yeah, seriously. And I think this in particular is interesting because the reason we know that the urinalysis for drug tests isn't quite accurate is because what we're saying is, if you do a urine sample, we know cocaine. No, actually, before I even say it, because I know a lot of us is hood, according to what we've heard in the streets, or maybe you've done your research, how long, I'm talking to the listening audience, gentlemen, please don't answer. The listening audience, how long do we know? Okay, so the family is saying, and we got a lot of retired dope boys. These dudes is certified. These ain't no green dudes who don't know about the lifestyle of people like Crip Jesus. If anybody don't know, just watch the video. We know the background of people like Crip Jesus. He's certified. He's been in the streets. This is not a story that people are making up. So in the hood, we know that this stuff stays in your system, let's say anywhere from 2 to 3 days. That's generally what we're saying. We already know this from whatever urinalysis and whatever like that. But through the hair sample, they were able to find it from thousands and thousands of years ago, and it's still in the system, which I just find to be very amazing.
Because like I was saying, you shed your skin, you grow new nails, but your hair is there. You have to cut that intentionally. Your hair stays. Right. It's not going nowhere. It's not doing that. That goes back to the story of Samson. But not to get too far off from the slides. Remember what you just read about, because we're talking about how long it lasted in your body and how it is today. And you see what they were talking about, the difference they found in the concentration, meaning that it seemed to them that people today abuse it.
Come on.
You feel me? And people then use it as opposed to misuse it, abuse it, abuse it. You feel what I'm saying? So I wonder how long it stayed in your system in the form that they did it. You know what I mean? It may not even been that long. Like, we don't know. Because what we know of drugs now is toxic.
Right. That's the story that we're told is just something bad. Shall we continue, or Dr. Enqi, did you want to introduce
because it goes
yourself?
back. You see at the top right there, it says, "Were Egyptians the first Americans?" So to everybody listening, even though we didn't got all the way to how long it lasted in your system, these goddamn archaeologists were still worried about how the hell they get anything over here from America.
Yeah,
that's all they were worried about.
No, I would just add in that it depends the form that you take it in, but it's roughly going to stay in your system 48 to 72 hours regardless. And the thing with cocaine for people to remember is cocaine is still widely in use today in a variety of derivatives. So at some point, I want to get into the conversation of alkaloids, but when we go to the supermarket and you buy Oragel or Ambisol or baby Oragel, you know, to rub in your mouth for your sore teeth or something, that's still a cocaine derivative. So yeah, it's a painkiller. So that's what. So all of the plants, and I guess if you study herbs like mouth to ear, you know, a lot of that. Now we got a lot of people that call themselves herbalists. They don't really know anything about herbs at all, except for the fact that they think they can make some money off it. But yeah, that's how it goes. But if you learn about the herbs mouth to ear, you'll probably learn at a slower pace. But if you go to a school as a naturopathist, you kind of study the whole process of plants, growing them, and blah 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 blah. But you're basically going to get your herbs in categories. That's the best. That's the easiest way to begin learning them. So you have painkillers and some of those things like that. But that's the main thing for the coca leaf is just an awesome painkiller and stimulant.
I'm glad you clarified the difference. Coca leaf. Cocaine is a new thing. That's why they got different names. You know, people try to say it's the same thing. Crack, cocaine, coca leaf. 3 different forms. They come from the same source, 3 different forms. But let's go to the next one.
Absolutely. What did we finish? Okay, yeah. Okay, so in 1992, German toxologist, that lady from earlier,
we got it.
Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, that we read about earlier, discovered traces of cocaine, hashish, and nicotine in Hinut Teyu's hair, as well as on the hair of several other mummies at this one particular museum, which is significant.
Because remember, I said the other mummies was because at first she didn't want to present it. She already knew what they were going to say about her. And then she did other mummies, and then other scientists were sent to do other mummies until they finally started doing pharaohs. Keep going though.
Okay.
I was just throwing that in there.
Okay, yeah. Which is significant in that the only source of cocaine and nicotine had at the time been considered to be the coca and tobacco plants, natives to the Americas, and were not. Anybody know what "not" means? And were not thought to have been present in Africa until after Columbus's voyage to the Americas. So again, you know, I just want to hammer this just one more time for the family, the listening audience, those listening and those who are going to catch this later, that we're not just talking about the idea of pharaohs with cocaine. We're connecting 2 continents with this conversation. This conversation
the point of this is that everything, whether it be even the drugs we see here, a lot of people act like it's just I was born in the hood and it's drugs. No, you gotta ask yourself, where does it come from? And then you'll start
where does it come from?
Together. Then you'll start tracing back who got the boat, who got the ship. And what you'll see here is that we had an international global trading empire, trading system, organization, and within it included herbs and all that. This is before these things were even illegal. So at this time, these things were being shipped around for certain uses. The reason why the Europeans later on have the FDA and the CIA so involved in the drug trade is because of this. Because once upon a time, we controlled the drug trade around the world. We made sure the herbs and the medicines got where they need to be. They weren't even drugs yet. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you bring up a great point when you mention the FDA, Food and Drug Administration, this one place that's in charge of the oversight of two seemingly different things. But, you know, it goes back to the Hippocratic oath, let your food be your medicine and your medicine be your food. Or I think is, or maybe that one is, don't do
And
any
see, you just
harm.
hit the nail on the head. Food and Drug Administration, but they're both induced. So they're really the same thing. They're already splitting it. Food and drug.
Right.
Which foods are we gonna take and turn into pills and dust and call them drugs?
Right.
Basically.
Tomato. But this is the lady right here who was the one responsible for this work. I just want to put a face to the name, even though I never said her name. She's some
Balabanovia, I believe.
Yeah.
And you see what I wrote there, playing with the ancestors' bodies. So I want a lot of people to understand that regardless of what we're arguing about, these are people, desecrating our ancestors', burials and playing with their bodies and then saying, look what we found. Well, it can't be that because they can't be this, they can't be that. And no, so while we sit here and talk about this all, bougie and scientific, that's what we're really looking at. These people dig up our bodies and play with them and then doubt what the hell they find in the damn body.
Well, could I take it just a step further when we say play with them? The Smithsonian Magazine, I guess, in a scholastic world that's as high as it gets, has an article titled History, the gruesome history of eating corpses as medicine. Now, when they say corpses, this was these Egyptology fanatics in Europe who were raiding the tombs and eating the mummies. I think they had like the outlawed or something. It was just so prevalent.
Wow.
Dr. Enqi, do you know anything about this, or shall we continue, or what do you gentlemen think?
No. We could stop right here for a second if you want. I'm actually the guy that bring this to the community about 10 years ago. I got a chance to spend time with the main author who kind of really hit it home and brung it to light and is a part of your study. Actually, if you want to really study medicine in order to get a complete idea of the history of medicine, you have to know this part of history. And many people they get upset when I talk about this in terms of Arabs, but the Arabs for a long time, they benefited by selling black bodies and mummies into cannibal trade. So if you type in, while you got the screen pulled up there, type in the book Mummies, Cannibals, and Vampires by Richard Sugg. He documents how the Arabs were, they started, and this is a medicine book, it's the history of medicine, but they had tariffs on it, taxes on it, so it's well recorded. Like this is recorded that this is the beginning of what we know of as European medicine. They was using black skin and black body parts powdered down as medicine. And they started with selling the mummies. And then when the mummies ran out, they just started grabbing dark-skinned people from all along the northern areas. And that contributed to what a large part of what today's slave trade that goes on, because the human trafficking anyway. But yeah, that's where that started at. And that's a book right there by Richard Sugg, documents the whole process for maybe about 400 or 500 years of how yesterday's medicine became today's pharmaceutical companies and today's medicine. You know what I'm saying? Like,
wow.
Yesterday's cannibalism, rather. Yeah.
Unbelievable. Shall we continue?
Yes, sir.
So, the good doctor, she's working on this particular mummy. So now we put a face to the name with the doctor. Let's put a face to the a face to the name of this. This is not a face. We'll get to in a second. For Hinut was an ancient Egyptian priestess. This is very important, family. She's a priestess.
Yeah. Remember, so with the woman being so erased from history, it's hard to even envision a priestess. So now we kind of put it into order here and put it into making sense. When you maybe can envision, for those of us from certain cultures, your auntie with the hair wrapped up, maybe she's into some voodoo or some type of Creole thing. She gets a little high, you know what I mean? So what you're seeing here is she wasn't a cocaine mummy because she was going to the club shaking her ass, you know, getting high all night. These were elements and herbs used to induce certain reactions, not abused, used, you feel what I'm saying, to open the pineal gland in a certain manner. You feel what I'm saying? These were plants. I want to drive this home. This powder you're seeing, these pills you're seeing, that's not what we're talking about. I really want to drive that home. Like, these were leaves, these were plants, these were natural things. It's really not about good and bad. It's about taking something natural, which is good, and tampering with it, making it bad. That's what Elijah Muhammad talks us about the nation, about grafting, as he calls it. You take something natural, you make that the root, the base of it. That's what they do with cocaine. The coca plant that we're talking about is the root base of what we have now. It's not even nowhere. What we have now is so far from that.
Absolutely. I think that's an important point to mention. Doctor?
The coca plant, you use that for like I said, you could use it for a stimulant or pain relief for stomach, you know, upset stomach. You know, these are all of the things that throughout history people have used it for. But, you know, I guess maybe the most basic thing that people should understand is the difference between a plant and a drug or a drug form that might come from a plant or even a medicine. The whole process is this: plants have anywhere from tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of different compounds maybe in them, documented and yet to be discovered. Mm-hmm. So when you take a plant, like if you go to my website and you get the detox, right? And you get a plant or you get an herb for whatever, that one herb has a wide variety of compounds in it that's going to act on your body. If you get a medicine, that's going to take one compound out of the plant and that's going to act by itself. So like, for instance, we use purple lilac. People know of the extract of purple lilac as metformin. So people that go to my website, our herbs, one of the things that we deal with is, like I said, we use purple lilac, just like they use metformin. It's how we combat or help combat folks that have diabetes. You know what I'm saying? But the difference is you'll get a faster reaction from the drug form because it's an extract. Only thing is, with the faster reaction tends to come a lot more side effects. Whereas if you get the plant, you get a lot less side effects, but it's a more gradual and pronounced effect. So, you know, hopefully
the pill is the microwave version.
There you go.
It's the TV dinner.
Right. Teach.
It's the TV dinner of Allah's medicine.
Oh. Right.
That's right. That's right. Shall we continue? So yeah, just to finish this one out, was an American Egyptian priestess. She was a priestess, you know, which would have been a doctor at that particular time during the 21st dynasty, whose remains were mummified. She is mainly known for being one of the so-called cocaine mummies. And this is just kind of drive the whole idea of a priestess.
Yeah.
Because there's another mythological reference to a drug-induced priestess.
This also, hold on, let me say this too. This also for you brothers out there that's thinking she just some voodoo baby mama or Santeria baby mama or something. You know what I'm saying? We got Pythias right here in Europe and all that. For all y'all that need the Northman to stamp it, here goes your stamp right here. This goes back to Greek mythology and all that. Hit them with it, bro.
Shout out to the voodoo girls who doing tarot cards and zodiac readings and all that type of stuff.
I love them. I'm just saying, for those that's going to try to deduce it that, oh, this was just right there. This was everywhere. It's around the whole world.
Pythia was the name of the high priestess of the Temple of Apollo at Delphi. She specifically served as its oracle and was known as the Oracle of Delphi. One of the main stories claimed that the Pythia delivered oracles in a frenzied state induced by vaporous risings, as you can see in this depiction, from a chasm in the rock. So she's sitting under this cracking the rock and vapors are coming up from it, and they got her tweaking. I guess that's the hood analysis. But anyway, and she spoke gibberish. You know, remember, grandma go to church, she speak in tongues, which priests interpreted as the enigmatic prophecies and turned them into poetic dialect hexameters preserved in Greek literature. So this is just a reference to add on to the idea of the priest.
So this goes back to Moses in the burning bush. Now I know, look it, I've been through many chambers. That's why they call me Crip Jesus, not Crip 5% or Crip Muslim or Crip Moor guy. I'm him, and
come on.
One of them earlier chambers I went through was Rastafarianism, and that's from my mama and them saying that. When they had that in there, I said, see, here we go with the Creole, island, Caribbean, like, you know what I mean? And a lot of our ancestors taught that when Moses is talking to the burning bush, that was actually him talking about, getting off some marijuana.
The burning bush. Teach Muhammad. Okay, how did I not see that? Okay, yeah, that's pretty clever.
That's why I'm Crip Jesus.
Yeah, come on, somebody. So yeah, she was in essence, along those lines. So continuing on. A thriving Bronze Age drug trade supplied narcotics to ancient cultures throughout the Eastern Mediterranean as balm for the pain of childbirth and diseases, proving as sophisticated knowledge of medicines dating back thousands of years, researchers say. And I think that this particular slide is in line with what Enqi was saying with the Oragels and these pain relievers. A lot of them, what we don't realize, are cocaine based. This cocaine and this Novocaine, these things are in line. Please, brother.
And that's why this can be misleading to those that are not, even if I want everyone to hear this, even the Black conscious community that think they so smart. If you haven't been initiated into studying herbs and things of that nature, this can be misleading, especially when they're using words like narcotics and all that. The first drug, this is not a slide up here, I had to look this up. The first drug was a German man took one of these natural medicines, herbs, plants, things of that nature, and extracted, because cocaine is an extraction of the coca plant. So they extracted from the opium poppy and made morphine. The German. That's the beginning of this thing we call drugs. You feel me? These were herbs, medicines. And when you look in the Bible, it talks about the Sabians being the ones that had the big trade of herbs and spices and medicines throughout the earth earlier on. So the Sabians, as I explained in other videos, is the Saba, Sheba, Queen of Sheba and their trade. The East Africans, the people we're talking about, the people of the Nile. Because when you go up into Egypt, that's going south. You're going down, you're going south into like Ethiopia and Kush and all that. Those were known, that was the civilization known for this major trade of herbs, spices, medicines. They were priests. You know what I'm saying? The narcotic trade that we're thinking about, Pablo and them, that's later on. Because that's why you see right there, it says childbirth. It says disease. It says sophisticated knowledge of medicines dating back thousands of years. So going back to when we first saw this, we weren't worried about racism. But the first thing they said was, you can't have anything in here from America. They were so focused on that. So I made this slide to show and prove. Right here we have Columbus, who is revealed in the 120 lessons to be half original, and who I looked up and found his father. When you look at who was in Italy and all that at the time, it makes sense. So we have here, Columbus was a Moor, meaning that even though, the same thing they do with King James, even though they put a smear campaign on him and teach you to hate him and say, yeah, he's a white guy, ooh, wow. He actually was a Moor. And the Spanish church took his story, the Catholic Church took his story and took all the Moorish history in it, even his personal logs, and recreated the story. So what we're mad at is the recreation. Right there at the top, those are so-called Vikings. But Vikings were Northmen, north of Africa. Normandy, like the Armana dynasty, but you read it from right to left, it's the Normandy, with the conquest and all that. The Vikings, they are known for crossing over to the Americas before Columbus.
Right.
So it's not that the world global trade empire that we had is not known, it's not recognized by us due to our lack of knowledge of self. That's why when they always show the Vikings, they got the horns on their head, and they got the braids and the dreads and all that. You feel what I'm saying?
Right.
The horns is kind of like what you see down in Southern Europe with the all the ancient Moorish rulers that had bulls as pets. See, we still love pit bulls. They had bulls as pets. That's why you see the bull fighting later on when they got the Moors out of there. It's a celebration. It's a white supremacist celebration, basically. You know,
right.
The bull is like Osiris Osar type animalism type thing. It goes back many centuries. Then to the right corner, you see a Phoenician. All these pictures have been made by them to look like them. But the Phoenicians, they know that those are the Carthaginians. They know that that's Hannibal in them. They know that Hannibal Barca, and that's where the name Barcelona, and him and his father is where the name Barcelona comes from. They know what's going on. But the same way they will teach you that the Alfonsos and the rest of the Moors are some random, Ricky Ricardo, even though we see Alfonso Rivera right in our face. We see Alfonso Rivera right in our face our whole lives on Fresh Prince. They still get you to agree with them. I don't know about the boat and all that. Oh, we slaves. But like I put right here, Columbus, the Vikings, and the Phoenicians that came thousands of years before them over here to the Americas back and forth, they were all Moors. I'm not even going to say they were black. They were all Moors. They were a mixture of cultures, languages, skin tones, and all that.
Absolutely. And I wanted to go back to that picture of the girl that the scientist was doing drug tests on her hair. She definitely has a full, this is a depiction of her if you Google her. She definitely has a
full. This is a depiction of her made by them.
Right. Yeah.
Sometimes they show the recreations and all that,
Right. She's definitely, dark skinned. Not to say it's harder to be darker than me. She's definitely darker than me. And she just has a full hair of, lively hair. Her hair, it doesn't look dead and flat or whatever the case may be.
But in their world, people that look like her don't have access to things shit even a country over. You know what I mean?
Right. These are definitely melanated people, dark-skinned people, carbon-based people. But yeah,
instead of Food and Drug Administration, it should be called Food and Drug Access. That's what they're controlling.
Woo! Teach, Muhammad. And just to continue on with your thought about how this is an implication of the connection of two worlds. The new world. This is not a new world. Who said that? But Herodotus wrote that Ramses II led a voyage to the Americas. You can check the receipts on that. But
so also what I'm saying here is that Herodotus was a Greek historian, right? So this goes to prove to all my brothers who want to say, the white man, this is a white man. You feel me? You need to just start reading, nigga. I said it. Because I know all you street niggas is watching Cocaine Pharaohs, so you thought you was going to hear about the Pharaohs hopping off with the boat with the bricks and the bad hoes, like Mansa Musa. But that ain't what you about to see. We own you niggas. Pick up a book and read.
So the cannabis trade was traded along the mountain routes of northern Asia. Cannabis and psychoactive drinks were exported from
Margiana
into India and other places, possibly even Egypt and Judea. Scientists found residue of cannabis, ephedra, and opium poppy in different pottery at Margiana, dated back to 1000 BCE. And if the family doesn't know, and I didn't know prior to this PowerPoint either, if the family doesn't know where Margiana is, which sounds so much like marijuana, even though that word comes from Mexico, it's right here, right above Afghanistan. We know where that's at. And to the bottom right or the east, we're going to see the Indus Valley, which is between two rivers, no different than ancient Sumeria, between the Tigris and Euphrates, where we're going to see Iraq in between that those two rivers. But yeah, this is.
I have something to add to that, though, my brother.
Please.
The word marijuana is Spanish, right?
Right.
Okay, so Spanish doesn't come from the Americas. Spanish comes from the place we know now as Spain, which is what I was saying just a few minutes ago. It's half Arab language, just like all the Spanish culture is half Arab, or mostly Arab, because the other group didn't have much culture. They was being taught by us. So the Arabs over here are the one who named it marijuana. They brought that name over there. That's that name translated into Latin. Marciana became marijuana in Latin, right?
Right.
So the point is, right now, 40 minutes into this live, the guest you invited, Crip Jesus, is going to give them the true name of this thing we call weed. This is the region that first started distributing majorly. This is why it had the name marijuana. But what they called it there, because it didn't come from just right here, deeper into Asia and other areas where it was, in the Sanskrit language, it was already referred to as ganja. This sounds more original. You can tell by the way it's pronounced in the tongue. It's just 2 syllables. Just like we talk about with the naga. That's the most earliest form of it. Then you get the nigger and the nigger. So ganja, right? They called it ganja. After it was exported from Marciana a lot, it became known as marijuana.
That's deep. That's absolutely deep. Absolutely. Okay, absolutely. Let me just see if Doc Enqi wanted to chime in, or should we, because we're going to get to a part where he's really going to take over the conversation. But did you want to add anything at this point, Doc?
No. This is yeah. Some of this is enlightening for me. You know what I'm saying? Some of this is the first time for me, but I do know that this region right here is one of the places that in the cannabis community is viewed as a possible origin place for cannabis. I know most of the land race strains are from this region, or a lot of them, a great deal of them. So what the brother's saying sounds right and exact.
Yeah, I concur. All wise, right, and exact. And Crip Jesus and I went over this PowerPoint forwards and backwards, literally, because all the slides were out of order and they were almost backwards. But just for the listening audience, for the tidbit, we didn't go over this with Dr. Enqi. This is all Dr. Enqi doesn't know what the next slide is. Only Crip Jesus and I know what the next slide is. And I'm just going to skip this one and go to this slide real quick.
Go back. No. Hell no.
What?
You gotta go back.
Okay. I won't.
You gotta go back.
Okay, so, please.
We're talking about the name, right?
Okay.
We're talking about the marketing campaign here, man. This is ancient marketing campaign. They thought we was not sophisticated.
Come on.
So it was called ganja by the spiritual masters all throughout the Asiatic lands. Right. It got the name marijuana from being exported and moved around a lot. But there's a name that it had a long time when me and you was growing up, and a lot of people. Yeah. And it was Buddha. And this picture is extremely important to that, because can you put that picture up? They can still hear me, right? Okay, listen. I just asked about 3 people the other day after we did that Naga episode on Sunday School. Shout out to MOI, Sunday School. Shout out to all the watchers. Tap in every Sunday, 7 Eastern, 4 p.m. out here on the Pacific. But anyway, there was a lot of people who didn't know about this Buddha. Everybody kept talking about the fat white Buddha in the liquor store. So this is the initiated Buddha. This is the initiated Buddha. This is the Naga Buddha. You see he's in meditation mode. You see he has the serpent up under him, and over his back he has 7 serpents that represents the Saba nation. We talk about the Sabians, Sheba and all that. That's their symbol, the 7 around them with the serpents. And even him, how he's looking, even the word serpent, but we're not gonna get into that. Even him, how he got the locks on his head and all that. So this is Naga Buddha. This is when Buddha is initiated. This is where that word comes from. When he's initiated, he sits there and he smokes. That's probably like a cloud of smoke around him with the serpents and all that, right? Because every time you see him like this, he has that cloud around him. You feel me? And he's there, he's meditating, he's teaching. This is where it became known as Buddha. So even though they rebranded it and called it marijuana and did all the smear campaign, the devil can't beat the streets. This is why Crip Jesus is called here today. The devil can't beat the streets. Even with all the smear campaign, it was still called Buddha for a long time. They just got to calling it, stop calling it Buddha.
Buddha, or the short version of Buddha, Bud, call it Bud, which is short for Buddha. Now,
no, that brother right there just enlightened me because I didn't know Bud was short for Buddha.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I wonder why it was called Bud.
Right, and you know, I was in a hood one time, and somebody got a bad batch of weed, and as he was smoking, he was like, "This ain't Bud, this Bud Light," which was. But nonetheless, yeah, okay. The Buddha.
The reason why that was important to drag you from the other one, because I know we were talking about the region, but we're talking about the name as well. So I'm showing that Buddha is known to come from that region.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
This region right here, absolutely.
No, South India. He's a little further east, but the point is that it was. I'm not going to sit here and say I know where the first bush was grown. That's where Enqi came in and verified that it was in that area. But I'm saying that the names come from the distribution. I'm still on that same topic. The distribution. Yeah. When Margiana had it out there a lot, it became known as marijuana. When the Buddhists had it out there a lot, because it was more than one Buddha. When the spiritual enlighteners all throughout Asia that was known as the Buddhists had it a lot, it was called Buddha. Even though they called it ganja, it still became known as Buddha. You feel me?
Now, so looking at this map right here, we see Argiana, which is Turkish. Turkmenistan, which nobody knows where that's at. You know, it's definitely not name brand like LA or New York. Shout out.
It's right above Afghanistan. If anybody want to know.
But I'm almost certain that we never heard it before, just right now.
It's above Afghanistan.
Yeah, it's just not
Osama bin Laden them. This was Osama bin Laden that we smoking on.
That's Osama bin Laden.
That could.
Right? But you know, we definitely do, and you know, Afghanistan is name brand. We know Afghanistan. So with that said, as Minister Enqi, Dr. Enqi was saying, if we look up the species called Cannabis indica, because this is right over there in India, this is that area. This is, as he was saying, it was a little north, but it's still in that region where the Buddha is at. But nonetheless, Cannabis indica, origin, look right here, family, origin, Afghanistan.
Yep.
The origin, just like the Minister Enqi just said it. He just said it. Yeah. And I got excited. I tried to jump the gun, you know, and Crip Jesus pulled me back.
This goes back to what Elijah Muhammad teaches about the middle of the earth right there. So, you know, Afghanistan sits between what we say the Egyptians had it, every black part of the Egyptian, and then say, well, India. Actually, a lot of our culture was preserved in India. And if you can stop being racist towards yourself, all my original people out there, and know that we were all throughout the world, going from South America, Africa, India to the Philippines and all that over there, you will realize that Afghanistan, Persia, and all that is the perfect place for things for us to develop. You get what I'm saying? That was the middle where we met at a lot and brought a lot there.
When we look at the name Mediterranean Sea, that area, Mediterranean, Medi meaning middle, Terranean meaning land, Midland, Midgard. That's that area right there. That's why it's called the Mediterranean. That's Middle Earth. But nonetheless, I'll just continue.
Hey, even if you look at the mathematics in terms of like the pyramids, if you look at the math, how mathematically sound the pyramids are, the popular conversation is that what's in Egypt is the oldest of all time and blah, blah, blah. But when you start looking at some of this stuff, there's pyramids that's older, and you look around and it looks like as the global civilization, you know, learned, they then came later on to maybe Egypt. With, you know, with much more fully developed, you know, so it doesn't look like what I'm basically trying to say is it doesn't look like Egypt just popped up out of nowhere. It looks like Egypt comes from a civilization that had definitely perfected itself other places before they got there.
Right. Exactly.
Because there's not a real gradual development out there. It's just automatically boom, like the most advanced shit of all time.
And I want brothers to know too, we got to get off this ethnocentric thing with Egypt where we act like we were in Egypt all by ourselves. So this was a world civilization, the same way America is. Like we had people from all over the world there. We brought them there. They were with us. They ruled. They came into power, came out of power. So there was a lot of substances elements, stories, teachings from foreign places that we brought here and developed. So even if we were over there, you know, with hashish and this, that, and the other, it being from other places, it being mastered in other places is not far-fetched, you know? So Afghanistan is for sure where it started, and we don't want to hear anybody say, no, it started in Kush, East Africa, or something like that, you know what I mean?
And I think, you know, what you were saying earlier is a lot of those cultures over there preserved other cultures. Like a lot of the European culture was preserved through the Christian Crusades, where they were going against the Islamic states, and the Islamic would raid their shit and take a lot of. That's why, just like you see a lot of our stuff in their museums, you see a lot of their stuff in those other museums, because at that time they were the ones raiding the European whatever, taking their shit. That's why you start to see the castles with the moat with the gators in it. You're like, hold on, alligators aren't even native to Europe. Why do they have that in their culture? But nonetheless,
and listen, let me say this before you move on.
Please.
That's one of the things that Masonry does. Just to you know, that's one of the things that Masonry does is it's almost like a repository in some aspects of ancient practices, traditions, and cultures, so that, you know, they can be carried forward into the future generations, kind of, you know, well preserved. So
yeah,
we've always had ways of doing that. Like we just
it's like the preservation.
Yeah, absolutely. We just get disconnected now.
Absolutely. So I'll finish reading this one, and you know, I'll finish my little thought and pass the mic. The origins of Kush cannabis are from land-race plants, mainly in Afghanistan, northern Pakistan, and northwestern India. This is where the, you know, indica comes from. With the name coming from Hindu Kush, because remember, a lot people's stuff may not come from them. A lot of our stuff was preserved over there in the mountain range. This is where the Kush comes from. Hindu Kush. Strains of cannabis were taken to ... We know it kind of moves all over the earth. But with
this is where the name Kush came from. That's what I wanted people to know. So just like Buddha's a nickname that has to do with spirituality and, you know, Pan-Africanism that you can fit in there. It was the Buddha Black and the Naga Buddha, with the same way the name marijuana. Y'all didn't know it was a Latin transliteration from Margiana, and it was in the Middle East, and come to find out that was a land where original people were too. We're not gonna go into all of that. Remember, you know, the statues and all that. See, Margiana was looking like Kenya or something. Right. But anyway, this is the Kingdom of Kush, today known as Ethiopia, Eritrea, Somalia, Djibouti, Kenya, Uganda. All that area was the Kingdom of Kush. The top of the Nile. Well, the top of the Nile is the north.
Delta. Yeah.
No, my bad. The bottom of the Nile is the north. So I mean, the top of the Nile would be the south. So this is the top of the Nile. Yeah. So
well, the map is upside down. So you're right.
The name Kush. The first time I heard the word Kush was in 2004, talking about smoking weed. I didn't know there was a kingdom of Kush. I laughed and laughed and laughed when I heard this. Kush, the kingdom of Kush. Let me hear about the Kush. Yeah, Kush, girl.
Right. Yeah, me too. I didn't hear about Kush until the weed thing, but you know, I wasn't there.
But the same way we're supposed to use the herb to become more enlightened and open the pineal gland and learn, they water it down, tell us to abuse it and make it silly and goofy, the same way they tell us to do with our ancient names. Buddha and Kush and Margiana. The biggest Buddha statues in Afghanistan were this bomb.
Oh, he teaching.
Like the Buddha.
He teaching. Yeah, he teaching. But just to read the slide, it says, the Kingdom of Kush, also known as the Kushite Empire, was an ancient kingdom in Nubia centered along the Nile Valley in what is now northern Sudan and southern Egypt. And I was saying that you were technically right, because we know the map is upside down. That's why the river flows that direction. But I don't want to get too far off. I just wanted to confirm that you were right, even though you changed it, but that was because of the new school understanding that the name and, you know, the neophyte might not understand. Anyway, Dr. Enqi, did you want to add anything, or should we continue?
Yep, you got it.
Okay, yes, sir. This coming from inverse.com, they had an article titled "The Secret High Inducing Power of Blue Water Lilies." it says, also called blue lotus, because I think the doctor was talking about the blue lily at the very beginning of this PowerPoint, and he didn't know this was in here. He didn't know. Also called the blue lotus, the blue water lily is believed to have originated in Egypt's Nile. Crip Jesus, what do you think about that?
So for all y'all, tap in. I got the holy blue water. That's that Crip Jesus strand. You know what I mean? And I think it's a beautiful thing, you know what I'm saying? But I think it's time for us to break down the difference. So right here, the blue water lily, I believe, was almost like a psychedelic. You know, they found it in King Tut. King Tut's remains were very preserved very well because of a bad reason. The other Egyptians didn't like Akhenaten or Tut or Nefertiti because they believed in one God. This is where the story of Moses really begins. So their family was outcasted and even buried in different places. So the heirs weren't able to desecrate them as much, as the brother was talking about, selling their bodies, eating them, and all that. So when they went in there, they actually found bottles still put together and all that. He had bottles of the blue lotus, the water lily, like they soak it in the water, it sits there, and then they drink it.
Dr. Enqi, you were talking about on your website, AmericanHealer.website. That's literally, it's not .com, it's AmericanHealer.website. You were saying something about purple lily.
No, purple lilac.
Purple lilac, excuse me.
Yeah. So purple lilac, basically, the thing people know me most for is, I guess, healing my daughter and fighting diabetes. So one of the things that they use in the professional space of medicine is metformin. One of the things that I use in the professional space of naturopathy is the original plant that the metformin comes from, which is the purple lilac. But in terms of the lotus is interesting because a lot of my conversation that centers around diabetes is the pigment system in the body, because that's where diabetes primarily affects your pigment system. But that actually is the richest natural source of tyrosine. And so tyrosine is the amino acid, the aromatic amino acid, and aromatics is where I want to take the conversation as well, because aromatics is where these alkaloids actually come from. And the alkaloids is your cocaines and your morphines and those type of drugs. But so it kind of is all related, but that lotus has the richest source of tyrosine in there, which you know, is a big key in producing pheomelanin as well as eumelanin, any type of melanin, neuromelanin as well. So yeah.
Absolutely.
That's right. So that's where I got the name Holy Blue Water from. Anybody interested, you know, tap in. Holy Blue Water, all safe and good. California, tap in. Anyway, though, yeah, that's where it begins.
Wait, what is that?
That's the beginning.
Wait. What is that?
Oh, this is the Holy Blue Water. I don't want to say too much, but you know what I'm saying. Holy Blue Water, just tap in, you know, Crip Jesus.
Oh, got you.
But yeah, man.
I just want to show this to kind of tie it in. That lotus is symbolic. We know, you know, there's lots of signs and symbols which are all for the conscious mind. And when you're dealing with the blue lotus, this is going to have connection with the pineal gland. Don't want to go too deep into that, but I think it leads us to our next slide, which is going to go with the LSD. Now, if you Google what hormones does the pineal gland produce, it's only going to say that the pineal gland produces melatonin and serotonin, which are considered to be a part of the circadian rhythm, wake you up, go to sleep, so on and so forth. Melanin is sleep, serotonin is awake. Doc?
Well, yeah, I was just going to say, when you, okay, so, and I guess I got to give props at this point to the melanin OGs, you know, Carol Barnes. I hate to try to give everybody, because I might forget somebody, but Carol Barnes, Richard King. These are the people I studied when I was a kid, trying to figure out what melanin was or wasn't. But those were like the main two: Carol Barnes, T. Owens Moore, Carol Barnes, Dr. Richard King. And they talked about the affinity that cocaine had with melanin. And so that becomes an interesting part of the conversation when we start to talk about how drugs hit certain communities, because there is a chemical affinity that is more or less effective depending on how the differences in your body. So if we look here, even when we look at just the basics of it, when you see the hexagon right there, the hexagon, that's the ring, the aromatic ring right there. So that is a big key in just biology, period. You know what I'm saying? So just pointing out some key. Look, go ahead.
No, I wanted to confirm because the family was already saying it in the comments, and just in case, oh, you just self-hate. It's not self-hate, family. Cocaine, crack, drugs hit us different. We get higher than they do. But this is not just drugs. We love harder than they do. Our orgasms are stronger than theirs are. We experience life at a higher level. And that's why we don't have to jump out of planes to get a high. We get a high off life just very easily. So to confirm what Dr. Enqi is saying, according to ScienceDirect.com, has an article titled "Interpreting the Color Effect of Melanin on Cocaine and ... It reads, while it is not controversial that melanin is a material which binds many drugs, your ass high off life and you think it's because of whatever, it's because anyway, spirit molecule.
Well, it goes it goes a step further. Type in right above, just type in POMC, like type that into the search. I'll show you exactly where the drug side.
It's nothing on the screen, Grump.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
So this right here is actually the major half of where the natural high is produced in terms of the dopamine track. It's called propriomelanocortin. And
whoa! I don't like the way you pronounce that. It looks like opium.
I was getting ready. I was going to come back to it. I was going to
say the opium is definitely in there. I'm sorry. Keep going, please. I'm sorry.
Well, you kind of dropped the bomb on it already. So, but I was going to say this is this is a large source of a lot of, where a lot of our biochemistry is initiated. So, in the brain, this is going to be your control of your lipids. This one molecule, control of your lipids, controls your appetite. It also has your endorphins. Your natural endorphins are produced here. So that's kind of where the natural high is. So you got to understand, folks, if you don't understand how your body works, somebody else will. And this is why I be asking folks to help with the research, like join the Patreon and things like that, because this is important. People don't see the importance until they feel the effect. Melanin has all of your body's opium receptors. So you have to know that you're going to have a totally different effect than somebody else. 1/10 of what is going to, your addiction is going to be a tenfold to anybody else to a lot of these drugs, because of the bonding affinity of melanin to these things and the chemical affinity when you look at the structures of these things. And so in the same space, when we get around to sugar and diabetes, I'm going to show you a compound in the same family that, we've come across that's been able to do some amazing good in turn, as opposed to the cocaines and the morphines. All of these are alkaloids, you know what I'm saying? But we're going to talk about some positive sides too. But this also stimulates and controls the growth of the melanin.
Dr. Enqi, I wanted to say that Crip Jesus and the family was right. I don't know what happened, but there was a little glitch in the matrix where they weren't showing the information. Even though Dr. Enqi explained it flawlessly, I just wanted to show it on the screen so that anybody who wants to follow the receipts. Thank you, Crip Jesus, for saying that. Sorry about that for the listening audience. But yeah, I don't know what was, because I could see it as well as Dr. Enqi could too, but I had to go on to YouTube. I don't know, but Shall we continue?
We were saying too much.
We gotta continue. Come on, it's time for Robert Siegel. Y'all playing, man.
Right.
For this for an hour. Hit them with this dope.
Right. So what I was basically saying is when we look at these drugs, they're based off a higher science. So when we look at things like LSD during that time, the 70s, these things were the bad version of something good. And serotonin is the happy chemical. If you go out and my son said he was scared of the dark. I said, fine, no problem. But if you're scared of the dark, what does that mean about how you feel about the light? The light makes you feel secure. The light makes you feel comfortable. The light makes you feel happy. And that's all because of serotonin. And serotonin was manipulated to LSD, which we can see has the exact chemical compound, but just added to it. So this is where you get Ronald Siegel.
This is where you get the devil.
Yeah. Our favorite Yuda.
They're taking the elements and graphing them out and turning them into. See, what they did was this.
Right.
They didn't have rituals like how we did. It's bigger than just the melanin. They said, how can we get them? Because if you think about it, when Muhammad came around, peace and blessings upon them, he banned them from drinking. So there have been people hitting us with different substances and all that. Just the same way they gave liquor to the Indians, they gave liquor to us, the other Indians over there. Right?
Right.
So when the Romans first enslaved us long, long ago, in the time of Jesus, they were giving us liquor. That's why Muhammad stopped that, peace and blessings upon them. Now, what they did was we still had rituals. We still had the, what's that you was putting me up on? The what's that?
Ayahuasca.
All that, right? That was real prevalent over here in the Americas with the rituals, right? So how do we get into that part of them? See how they got into us with the music? It took them years to do that. But around the same decades they was trying to get into our music, the 70s and the 80s, they got into our rituals, our substances. Yes, they did. And so all that people that say it's conspiracy theory and you niggas need to put the guns down, the drugs. Oh, we about to show y'all now. He got a video for y'all. All you niggas that thought it wasn't real, that said, my uncle, let me talk real quick, because in South Central, every nigga claim his uncle invented cooking crack. My uncle the one cooked the crack. My mama was the one. Nigga, I know what happened, cuz. Shout out to Tootie Reese, Felix Mitchell, Mob, M.O.B., the homie didn't have Freeway Rick. It's all a lie. Freeway Rick probably lying too, because we about to show y'all the real video. Just show him, man. I'm tired. Just show him, Crumb.
Our lab was the one who discovered the crack epidemic. We had monkeys smoking crack cocaine in the basement labs at UCLA 13 years before the word was invented, because we knew it was coming. Because,
and again, you're at UCLA?
Yes, I've been here for a long, long time. I came out here from New York. This is one of the few places I could do LSD research at the time, and we were giving LSD and marijuana and all kinds of other drugs to volunteers in the laboratory, and I wanted to move away from animal research and move into people. And it was also an exciting time because lots of new epidemics have started here in California. The psychedelic revolution started here. The methamphetamine epidemic in 69-70 started here. Crack epidemic in the form of cocaine-free base. Smoking started here in 1971. It hit New York in 1985. So we were always on the cutting edge of things, and it was an exciting place to be, and it still is.
So that is the voice of Ronald Siegel in an interview.
And I want all my brothers to know.
Please rewind that one time. Please play that again.
He wasn't hiding it. He was blatantly talking about this. He got a book about this. So it ain't that they're hiding it. We don't read. And when they do a little documentary on TV or something, we believe whatever they feed us, because they feed us the wrong foods. Foods are not just what you put in your mouth. It's what you put in your nose, what you put in your ear, what you're listening to, what you're watching. All that shit is drugs.
Crip Jesus, Dr. Enqi said, will it back. What do you think? One more time?
One more time.
One more time, man. That's crucial. I don't even think people understand what they saw just now. Like, that shit is insane.
Yeah, this is crazy. Let's go.
Our lab was the one who discovered the crack epidemic. We had monkeys smoking crack cocaine in the basement labs at UCLA 13 years before the word was invented, because we knew it was coming.
And again, you're at UCLA?
Yes, I've been here for a long, long time. I came out here from New York. This is one of the few places I could do LSD research at the time, and we were giving LSD and marijuana and all kinds of other drugs to volunteers in the laboratory. And I wanted to move away from animal research and move into people. And it was also an exciting time because lots of new epidemics have started here in California. The psychedelic revolution started here. The methamphetamine epidemic in 69, 70 started here. Crack epidemic in the form of cocaine-free base. Smoking started here in 1971. It hit New York in 1985. You know, so we were always on the cutting edge of things, and it was an exciting place to be, and it still is.
Wowzers.
I mean, he's got a monkey smoking crack in the basement, man. Like,
you can't make this issue.
You can't make this up.
Bro, the fact that it's in UCLA, I mean, the school tell you everything.
Well, you know, okay, well, let me say this. Well, no, I don't want to get ahead of myself. Let me go with what Crip Jesus said. Well, actually, I just want to go to the next slide. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Right. Yeah. Move on. Yeah, that's hot.
So, this is in America, but this had started a long time ago, led by the Germans. IG Farben was with the Nazis. They were the one who created that whole research and development thing, and they were using it originally how we used to use it. Heroin wasn't a drug; it was medicinal. Please, Doc, what do you think?
No, I was just gonna say, you know, this is the these are the people that they talking about in the Bible. Yeah, by name. Like, this is one of the things that early on. Okay, so early on, I was trying to find myself in the scriptures, like a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? And me being the health guy, you know, it was crazy for me, like impactful even, when I found out that pharmakia, because, you know, pharmakia is in the Revelation. It says that, you know, the world will be, you know, killed, destroyed by the agents or the salesmen or the representatives of pharmakia. So a lot of people, they'll tell you that pharmakia is witchcraft, right? And sorcery. But if you scratch it a little bit deeper and further, then you know that has to do with manipulating chemicals. And then you get into, you know, toxicology and all this kind of stuff. So, but the crazy part is, it's actually a company called Pharmakia. So there's actually a company called Pharmakia, and its salesmen are largely the guys that brought us Monsanto. Monsanto is a smaller company up underneath the umbrella of Pharmakia. A lot of the largest, I mean, they've been the largest producer of vaccines maybe the last 50 to 100 years. Johnson & Johnson, all of these companies roll up underneath the larger umbrella company, Pharmakia, but you never really hear about them. You know what I'm saying? So that's crazy that you pulled that up right there. Yeah.
I wanted to just kind of go and expand on that idea just a little bit, because, you know, Crip Jesus did point out earlier in terms of the woman that they found the cocaine in her hair. She was a priestess.
Allfacts.com.
She was a priestess. Oh, what do you mean a priestess? You know, what, like a witch? Well, maybe, or like a doctor. Crip Jesus, didn't I say in the beginning, when I say priestess, think doctor? So now we're looking.
This goes back to what this whole thing is about. When you're gonna say cocaine pharaohs, but we know it was a coca leaf plant. You know what I mean? We know it was medicinal. We know it was nature being used for nature's purpose. Now you have the craft being manipulated and played with, and you have people getting high and sticking pins in guys' butts because they're mad at them about a bad date or something. That's not that.
Listen, let me say this for a second. Let me get the screen real quick so people can see it real quick, Crumb. Because I need people to understand this. Now, we have to honor the GOATs. I'm big on honoring the GOATs. You know, I feel like LeBron is one of the GOATs. And I feel like Dave Chappelle is one of the GOATs. So we got to honor the GOATs. And in doing that, Dave Chappelle came up with a concept. And, you know, they say that, especially with his brand of comedy, he likes to tell the truth. but have it ring to you in a certain way that you didn't see it before, even if it was sitting right in front of you. And when he said that they would kill, the cops, shout out to Joe Budden for, creating a law that allow all the cops to kill black folks. But he said that the cops, usually they'll go ahead and when they kill somebody, they just sprinkle a little cocaine on him. And after they kill you, when they sprinkle a little cocaine on you, that make it okay. So immediately in my mind, I just looked at the greater European institutions killing our history and then sprinkling cocaine on our whole history and then trying to make our whole history vanish when they came out with this information about the pharaohs, et cetera, got cocaine in the hair and on it. I said, hold on, man, what are we doing? Ain't nobody sprinkling no cocaine. What about all of the use of these heavy narcotics up in the northern regions where they had to stay warm at? Okay, that's how they pioneered these long, multiple day orgies as well. So a part of these northern rituals that came down with the use of these drugs to stay awake for days and days and days. So yeah, there's a whole global culture. It's not just ancient black folks. That was
yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
what I'm
absolutely.
trying to explain is that when we had it wasn't drugs. That's why I said the first drug is the morphine. When he took it and he extracted from the natural element, just the high inducing part.
Allfacts.com. Yeah.
Right. All facts. According to NCBI question, who was the first to extract morphine from opium? In 1831, Sir Turner received the Monty Prize from the Institute of France and the title of Benefactor of Humanity for his work in isolating morphine from opium. It was a big deal, folks. He got a prize.
Listen, that's the same reason that Christopher Columbus. That's the real reason that Christopher Columbus is famous. He's not famous for discovering a place that people was already at. That's not what he's famous for. Christopher Columbus is the plug. He's the first person to bring the sugar over here. So
whoa. Okay.
Okay. Go ahead. My bad. We
okay. Yeah. You getting ahead of us, but I mean it's right. But he's getting ahead.
Big plug.
Right. The plug.
They wasn't ready for this.
Right. So, we talked about the LSD dude who was really a mad scientist in the basement of one of the biggest institutes.
With a monkey smoking crack.
With monkey smoking crack. You can't make this up. And, he was really basing it off of a hormone produced in the brain, which was serotonin, and in particular, the pineal gland, which we all know about and don't know any other glands except that. But I digress. So now, we go back to heroin to say that, hey, it was medicinal, and we saw where Coca-Cola took it to the next level, and they made it, because this is FDA, they made it something recreational. Because soda is a pastime drink or whatever the case may be. And remember, hard drink, the opposite of a soft drink. Oh, soda, soft drink. The opposite of a soft drink is a hard drink, like alcohol. The first hard drink, soft drink concept came from beer. Beer was the hard drink. Soda was the soft drink. I digress. So, shout out to Crip Jesus. He's out there on the west side. We're looking at these criminals. And I wanted you to kind of speak on that, if you could, Crip Jesus.
Well, I wanted to show right here that it takes two to tango. You understand what I'm talking about? So what happens is someone comes up with a plan. That's right, y'all. I'm about to break it down to y'all. This is really what drugs is. Someone comes up with, I'm not talking about pharmaceutical drugs. Let me break that down. I don't even trust that dude that made the first morphine. They was probably so happy because they said we're going to dope up all our enemies and win the war finally. So look, someone comes up with a plan. We're so used to the concept of drugs now, we just automatically think of a toxic. But back in the day, before there was even the concept of the drugs, when it was just different elements that people use, someone comes up with a plan. Sometimes the plan is either to outlaw the element, so you can try to control the trade, say it's illegal, or I'm the one controls it now, you have to pay your tax. Like kind of like what they did with weed, right? They outlawed it for a while, and they came back and took control of it. Now we got the weed. Either they do that, or I'm going to just put it out there, they get somebody who trusts the community, or somebody that's a bully and an asshole in the community, somebody that's got the power in the community to bring this new tampered with version out and distribute it to them. and create the hell on earth. That's right. So I'm not here to be nobody's friend. I'm here to show people to watch out, because sometimes the devil looks just like you. Sometimes he's right in your backyard, and sometimes he's not even the devil. Sometimes he's just operating. See, this is the problem why knowledge is so much important. Knowledge is the first degree in the nation of God's earth. We don't believe in, wishy-washy superstition. Without knowledge, you're vulnerable. You can pray all you want to. So Freeway Rick, the first person on Mount Crackmore, right here, right, is he couldn't even read. He was able to get out of prison from that life sentence because once he was able to read, he realized, wait, hold on, the government's got me selling dope for them. Yeah. So he's not a drug lord. He's not a trap guy. A lot of these rappers, he's a criminal. You feel what I'm saying? And I ain't got nothing against the brother. I'm right out here with Freeway Rick, and he's doing the right thing now. And he wants the story to be told this way. He's tired of Freeway Rick. Well, he's not named not Freeway. He's tired of Rick Ross the rapper. That's why I did this today. We got to put him up there first because we're showing that the devil's working on both ends. I'm going to make the poison. I'm going to take something that y'all already do, graft it out, make it a poison, have one of your friends feed it to you, then kill him off and have another one of your friends act like him. All off of my dope plan. You got to be careful, man.
You got to.
So Freeway Rick is really the model for what they wanted to put into the whole hip hop thing. But then you see, I got some other West Coast people that may not be as popular because there's not no rapper imitating them. Tootie Reese, he really ran a lot of Southern California. And he was getting his drugs from out the country. Same thing with Felix Mitchell. And they were importing it in, and they ruled with ironclad fists. I don't care how many people love them. They're glamorized by street people, gang people. They helped people and all that too as well. But what I'm saying is, it takes two to tango. For everybody wants to get mad, there's no the dude we just showed, Ronald Siegel. He can't walk on the block and sell you nothing. He can't control the homies. He can't put the guns there and make them do it. You feel what I'm saying? It takes somebody that's a criminal minded or that's an asshole. So you see, I put Ramses up there, and people may ask why. Well, people need to stop idolizing people. This is how we get to where we're at, right? Because certain people can do no wrong, and then whatever bad comes with them, you run with that too. But we're not doing that today. We're not idolizing Freeway Rick, the rapper. We're not idolizing Freeway Rick, the drug lord. We're not idolizing Felix Mitchell, the mob. Shout out, I love y'all, but we're not idolizing him. We're not idolizing Tootie Reese, and we're not idolizing the reason why the Pharaoh Ramses is called Pharaoh in the book of Exodus. He's not called Moses. Why the other person is called Moses? Because the other person was the native. Remember, he was supposed to get killed off. He was sitting up the river by his mom. He was the native. The Pharaoh, who was Ramses, the native people that was really the real tribe of Moses, Thutmoses, Moses, and them, they refused to call him by that name and just called him Pharaoh. It's like calling Trump president. You know what I'm saying? Or that guy or whatever. You know what I mean? Because he ruled with an ironclad fist and he was into a lot of stuff. So I bring that up to show that the era that they found a lot of this, he was in power. So maybe they was shipping stuff over and doing this, that, and the other. You know what I mean? I don't put it past them because like the Bible explains, we don't idolize them dudes. You feel what I'm saying? If people want to understand what they're, a lot of people say, oh, the Hebrew Israelites are dumb. They don't understand about Egypt. No, I don't rock with them.
You still there, brother? I think you froze. Yeah, bad connection. But going into Freeway real quick, just to kind of focus, because he's the biggest name up here, second to Moses, or what we call Ramses. Freeway was in California around the same. Here we go, I believe. Brother, I think we lost you.
No, the Illuminati was hating. They didn't want me to speak on this.
Come on, somebody.
Bang.
They thought Enqi energy. They thought I was gonna get on Clive Davis and all that. We're gonna digress though. We're gonna digress and keep going. Keep going. Next
Absolutely.
slide.
So Freeway was in California I don't know if a lot of people know this, but before Ronald Reagan became president, he was the governor of California. So freeways in California. At the same time, Reagan is in California. At the same time, the guy we spoke about earlier, just to kind of bring it full circle, at the same time, Ronald Siegel is in California. These people are all in the same place at the same damn time.
Except one person.
Who's that?
Rick Ross, the rapper. Now check this out.
Right.
Check this out. You got Ronald Siegel and Ronald Reagan.
Come on.
Both in Hollywood. Remember, before Ronald Reagan was a governor, he was an actor.
He was an actor. The first Arnold Schwarzenegger. Keep going.
So the same people who decide the imagery and decide what's going to go on, the same Illuminati they're talking about, whatever, right? Whatever you want to call it, right? The plotters, the planners, right? The Hollywood dude. We ain't gonna say they a little syllable. Everybody gets mad when you say it. But these people had this vision already. So let's put Ronald in power. Let's put the other Ronald, get him to figure it out, the stuff. And then we're gonna take that and give it to Rick. Right?
Right.
And then when we're done with Rick, we're gonna get somebody else to act like Rick, to resell it back to the kids. Booyah! It's the same Hollywood people that told him to do what he did in the first place. He wasn't behind none of that. He was put in power because he was dumb. Anybody go back and look at Ronald Reagan, he was one of the dumbest leaders ever. He was put in power because they knew he would give no resistance to their drug plan.
Right. Ronald Reagan wasn't a thinker. He wasn't brilliant. This dude was a actor. And action. You know, this
and action take one, Iran-Contra, it says it didn't happen. Action take two, oh no, 12. Take 12.
Right.
Iran-Contra. It happened, but I didn't know. So for those that don't know, and for those who do know, let's revisit it. Iran-Contra is a scandal where America, Ronald Reagan specifically, and his administration got caught secretly smuggling weapons to the Iranians, who we were supposed to be enemies with at the time, to get money to fund a war in Nicaragua with a refugee group. They weren't helping the presidents of Nicaragua and them, the government. They were helping the rebels fight their own government. But here's the funny thing about the whole Iran-Contra scandal. It should be called the Iran South Central Contra scandal, because that's only one part of what happened.
Right.
The guns being sold to Iran to get money for the Contras was I don't even care about that part. Everybody knows the Iran-Contra scandal is about them putting crack in black communities on purpose. They try to skate over it and say, well, we just needed money for the Contras. No, why was Richard Siegel down there with the monkeys smoking crack? They planned this. They put this together.
Obviously.
Let me just add this in there too, because again, I want to really double down on this. That people have to invest in this research that we do. That's the reason why we have a melanin diabetes research Inc. That's the whole purpose of our foundation. And it goes back even before Ronald Reagan. And people got to understand, if you're not working towards your own empowerment, somebody else is working to your detriment. We got to go back to Richard Nixon, because Richard Nixon was caught on tape. See, if we keep it at Ronald Reagan, right, even though we know certain things, it's not as much as we can prove. If we take it back to Richard Nixon was caught on tape talking about how they were planning on putting the drugs in the future into the black communities, blah, 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 blah. And so Reagan is in continuation. Like when we say, oh, Reagan is an actor, he was just out there participating, following the script. The script goes way back to Richard Nixon. And this is the reason why it's so crazy that, to me, I don't understand how people put Biden in office, because people forgot that Biden was the other guy on the phone conversation with Nixon. So when Nixon is talking about poisoning the black community and all that, he's on the phone with Biden.
He was talking to Joe Biden. Damn, Gina.
Joe Biden is on the Watergate tape. So then,
and hold on, let me add this in there. I gotta add this in there. Joe Biden was just in California passing out crack pipes.
Oh my God! Hold on.
That's
hold
where he was born now.
Wait, Enqi, doctor. I'm sorry. Give me just a second. he brought this whole thing full circle. And Joe Biden was out this joint passing out crack pipes. Can I get a damn Gina? Can I get a damn Gina? Anybody.
Wait a minute, but Joe Biden is also the author of the 1993 crime bill, which is the reason why we have so much police killing black folks in the community and black people getting arrested with the same amount of drugs as other nationalities, getting 10 times or 3 times the amount of jail time and all. Joe Biden is behind all of those things. We wouldn't have these cases where police got their knee on folks' necks for 8 minutes and all that if Joe Biden didn't put that legislation in place in 1993 to protect the officers' rights to kill innocent blacks in the street. Hint, hint, wink, wink. You know what I'm saying? So it's a
basically what
program.
they did was they came into our garden and messed with our plants to turn our heaven into hell. You feel me? That's the summary. See, because when you see the pharaoh, they didn't have the powder. That's the juxtaposition of the picture. You feel what I'm saying? So what they did was they said, okay, this goes back probably millions of years with y'all. So let's just tinker with it. Because it's the same elements. It's the same elements that healed you. I'm gonna use it to hurt you.
Right. Yeah. The irony.
Well, I'm gonna turn it into a toxic, into a poison.
Come on.
I'm gonna turn the word nigga for king into a word that you scared to even say.
Right. Turn heaven into hell.
I'm gonna turn what you use to create life, you feel what I'm saying, sex, and turn it into porn and prostitution and all these things that's gonna destroy you.
That's powerful. Well, let's draw this to an end, and I want to get Dr. Enqi to kind of close us out on this, but to kind of segue into Dr. Enqi, because we're going to stay true to the history of the ancient drug trade. I want to ask the listening audience, not in your opinion, but factually, what is the most potent drug? Okay, so a lot of people, somebody said air. God damn. I guess so, but no, in terms of the ancient drug trade, the most powerful drug, a lot of people said it. I think Demon Kennedy was the first one, so I want to put some respect on their name. The most powerful drug in the world is sugar. In terms of the ancient drug trade, if we go into history, we're definitely going to see that. And I wanted to use that as a segue to have Dr. Enqi, because we did speak about the whole Christopher Columbus thing. I wanted to see if Dr. Enqi could kind of talk to us about that for a little bit. Do you mind, Doc?
Absolutely. The sugar trade was it's definitely the sugar is the most addictive drug, the most dangerous drug by far. So we can get into that. But Columbus is known for being the guy to bring the sugar plant, the sugar cane over here to the Americas. And a lot of what we know of as slaves being captured and forced into labor or indentured servitude happened in terms of sugar. Even the transition that some people know about, maybe a lot of people don't know, but early on, all type of people were being captured and put in slavery in America, including white folks. And then you had black folks that own white folks, which it got crazy. But inside the cane fields, inside the sugar plantations is where all of this really changed at, because Black people could last the longest out there in terms of producing sugar, because sugar is such a dangerous drug. It's such a dangerous chemical toxin that you only have a 7-year lifespan on average, a 7 to 9 year lifespan from the day you start working in the field to the time you dead. And that doesn't matter if you're a kid. If you start working at the age of 10 years old, you will not make it to 17 or 19 years old before you're dead from complications of sugar. If you start as a grown man and you got your fully developed body, you still got 7 to 9 years. That's how long it would take. Now, for Europeans, they would die out there in 2 to 5 years. So a European slave would die out there in 2 to 5 years, where they sort of, the black folks stayed out there. They could live maybe even 4 to 9 years. So that was a much more of a return on their investment. And so not only is it a part of the history that I study, you know, the number one thing I combat is that I focus my practice on diabetes, but I'm also Haitian. And that is Haitian heritage. That's Haitian history, because Haiti was the first real large full-scale sugar plantation. And that's part of the reason why Haiti is the only place to ever successfully beat Europe's ass in terms of colonization, you know, and getting them all the way up on the program. But then they moved over a few islands over to Cuba, and that's where Cuba, and the process for making sugar out of sugar cane is very similar to the process of turning the coca leaf into cocaine. So this is why after you have sugar places, or even during, you have usually the cocaine pop up in those same places. So they'll talk about the cocaine because cocaine usually funds rebels and you know, grassroots kind of guerrilla movements and stuff like that. Whereas you don't really hear about the ugly side to sugar because sugar funds governments. You know what I'm saying? So even though then cocaine, you're going to hear about the cocaine, you know what I'm saying? But sugar kills more than any other drug. It's 8 times more addictive than cocaine. So it's not even close to the same level of addiction. Sugar is way more addictive than cocaine. And again, depending on, you know, your makeup, it may affect you even more pronounced. So that's the reason why type 2 diabetes, which is the form of diabetes that is, you know, metabolism based, lifestyle and things like that, is more primarily 90% black people. Yeah. The reason being is because sugar affects your pigment, you know, and I'm glad to be the one to kind of discover and bring some of these things to the forefront of the community. But some of these things was low hanging fruit. Like if we look at the A1C, when you get your A1C tested, the A1C test literally is what pointed me in the direction to figure out sugar targets all of the pigments in your body, because the A1C test is basically the main test they test to see what you're dealing with in terms of blood sugar. But it's checking to see how the sugar, simplified, this how the sugar crystallizes on your hemoglobin. So once you know that hemoglobin is pigment, you know what I'm saying, it's not far to go. I wonder if, and once I looked, I said, oh, wow, sugar crystallizes on pigment in general. So it's not just hemoglobin. And this is the reason why now they secretly know, but they're not fully promoting. I don't know why. Maybe they're waiting to find a drug that they can market alongside the information. But Alzheimer's is diabetes. Alzheimer's is no longer viewed as a separate thing. Alzheimer's is type 3 diabetes officially, because sugar in the brain and nervous system is what causes Alzheimer's. And you don't get Alzheimer's when you're 50 or 60. Alzheimer's takes 30, 40, 50 years to incubate. So most people start building Alzheimer's in the brain in their late teenage years to their late 20s. So by the time you're in your 30s and 40s, you already have the progression of Alzheimer's in play. It's just you don't have enough damage, like, you know, tau proteins and all those things in the brain to make a pronounced difference. But you might open up your cell phone to call somebody and a text message might come in and you start talking to that person and forget you was about to make a call, or, you know, you just losing little things around the house. All of those things is buildup of damage. And the damage is two-sided, because at the same time as the sugar causes Alzheimer's, it also is the main contributing factor to the lack of neurogenesis. you're supposed to have, in a healthy body, your body can produce anywhere from, you know, like 300 to 700 brand new neurons a day. You're always supposed to have new neurons being produced. It's only until we start to do things that stops that production. So one of the reasons, like going back even to serotonin, one of the reasons why we get the hangover is because when we drink alcohol, alcohol stops our body from being able to metabolize NAD, you know, because alcohol is fructose, it's sugar. So you're drinking sugar, you know what I'm saying, when you drink liquor. So when you drink fructose stops your body from metabolizing NAD by stopping your body from metabolizing tryptophan. Tryptophan is the amino acid that, you know, your body uses for melatonin and serotonin. So if you don't have that, then your body can't produce the serotonin, melatonin. So this is why people that, you know, they do a lot of recreational drugs or drink alcohol or whatever, they have trouble sleeping. Their circadian rhythm is thrown off because your circadian rhythm is tied to your energy production. So when your mitochondria slow down from producing and recycling ATP, the spent adenosine is what signals the pineal gland to start converting melatonin into serotonin. You know what I'm saying? And then, or backwards rather, serotonin into melatonin for the night. And then when it's time to flip it and it's time for you to wake up, the other process happens where now you're converting that melatonin back into serotonin. That's tied to your mitochondria's production of ATP and how much adenosine you have floating around in the bloodstream, because adenosine is also a vasodilator. So all of that stuff ties together, because how easy your blood circulates also has to do with how much sugar can crystallize. You know what I'm saying? And so when we're looking at the damage of the eyes, it's the pigments of the eye. That's the reason why the eye goes blind. The sugar jams you up there. Diabetics go deaf because of the pigment in the ears. You know, even you lose your penis function because the sugar crystals clog up the little capillaries that carry the blood, you know, into your penis and your testicles and all that. You know. So the sugar is you know, it's problematic, and you know, I could go, yeah, I go 11 hours or so. Yeah, like I gotta pass the mic, so we won't have progress.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Well, with that said, I wanted to.
But if we closing out though, I definitely have some other pieces to add, because the way that we actually are attacking diabetes, especially for type 1 diabetics. For type 1 diabetics, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people, they talk about being able to attack type 2 diabetes with diet, exercise, nutrition, herbs. Yeah, that's a fact. We've been like, you know, not to sound cocky, but that's something that, you know, we've been doing that. Now, though, we're able to attack type 1 diabetes with the herbs. And this is very important because I'm not sure if everybody's aware, but the scariest part of COVID is that COVID actually causes diabetes. So I don't know if people understand that part, that COVID causes diabetes. Are you two gentlemen aware that COVID causes diabetes?
No, I wasn't. And I was going to say, I try not even talk about it, because the only strikes not the only, but the last strikes I got was because I even, you know, dropped the C-bomb. I made a video saying I was calling it covert.
Gotcha.
I had made a post, and I'll you know, let Crip Jesus have the last words, see, you know, his final thoughts. And this was back in 2020, so you can see how long ago it was. Until sugar is labeled as a drug, shut up about crack. Stop playing. But with that said, I want to get the final thoughts of Crip Jesus. Please, what do you think, brother? Ultimately, just hit that good unmute button. Just hit that good unmute button. I don't know if he can. Crip Jesus, can you hear me?
Can we hit his unmute?
My bad.
Yep. Okay.
Back.
Please.
Okay.
Yep.
So
yep.
now
We can hear you.
we can see. My bad. What'd you say?
No, I'm just making sure you live. You
we
good.
can see the real purpose behind the so-called war on drugs. You feel me?
Come on.
It's a war to control our rituals, a war to control our culture, a war to control the substances we use to heal ourselves, to celebrate, to cleanse, to tap in. They said, we've tried everything to war with these people, and nothing has worked yet. They rewrote our history. We was out there teaching the right history, right? They switched the laws on us. We had civil rights. So the last thing they did, because a lot of people don't believe this, and I want to leave people with this message. A lot of people believe that the people that look like me and you in North America have been nothing for not only 400 years, but even worse than that. What they don't know is, and not only is that a lie, but prior to the 70s and 80s, when Richard Siegel and them put this together, we were still had way more land than we have now, way higher marriage rates than we have now. We were a great people. They can rewrite the story all they want to. We didn't get to this position we see now. Really? There's more people incarcerated in prisons now than there were in the so-called slavery time. Documented on record who was enslaved. So this drug thing has done more to us than any other thing. And I want people to take away from this that it's not the drug, because that's a word again. The first drug was morphine. It's the taking and grafting out, extracting. The same thing they do to you with these religions. They extract something out and say, there. They extract out a piece of information and say, here, and you take it. Google extracts out shit, and all niggas do is Google something. There. This is what's happening to you. You're not even getting the coca leaf plant experience, fool. You're getting the cocaine, watered down, boo-boo, crackhead experience. So return to the original. Stop accepting the extractions because they're all killing you.
All right. I think we've covered all our bases.
Wait. I got a little the little video. If y'all not in a rush, I got the 2-minute video I want to share with the family.
About the diabetes.
Yeah. Well, the reason is because cocaine and these drugs that we're talking about are alkaloids, and a couple of things that people got to learn about this is a part of the reason I'm so vigilant, and I sound like the old hater sometimes, is because I started a lot of what people understand is this healer movement. You know what I'm saying? Before me, vegans was looking like super feminine with the sandals on with the dirty toenails and the that it was a different look. I started putting on the Maury's and the pennies and the Coogis and the hard bottoms and the suits, and all of a sudden it became the vegan thing got a little more swaggy, and people start, I'm a vegan, and then girls start being interested in. So I want people to understand that you need to be diligent in your study, but on the flip side, we got to understand these plants so that we can take it back to the essence. It's not just a matter of getting the money. You know what I'm saying? So here, I want to show, going back to the, where we at the share. Let me hit the share real quick.
Doctor, you said something, and I can't, because I don't want to go past the next 10 minutes, but if I get what you're saying cocaine is alkaline?
Absolutely. These are the alkaline compounds that are in plants. These are absolutely the alkaline compounds in plants. And most of these guys running around selling herbs, they try to market herbs based on minerals. When you guys hear guys marketing herbs or teaching health and they teaching you only about minerals, that tells you that they don't know anything about health. Listen to what I'm telling you. If they talking to you about minerals, that means they're regurgitating somebody else's videos, and they don't really know about plants or herbology or about the body, because the thing that makes minerals move from plants into different animals are the other compounds. This is why if you're buying like the liquid golds and liquid silvers and some of those different things, well, silver is an exception because you use silver in the water, but those other minerals, they don't really work in the body without the plant compounds. You have to have the enzymes, and then you have to have the associated alkaloids. And when you're putting together herbal compounds, you don't put together herbal compounds based on minerals. You put them together based on the compounds in the plants that are able to harness the minerals. So alkaloids is one of these primary sets of compounds that controls how the plant is going to behave in your body, whether what minerals are in there or not. And so that's why I wanted to share the video, because the premier new class of herbs that technically we are the first ones to introduce to the people that are regrowing beta cells or helping people to regrow their beta cells is a alkaloid. And so I'm saying, on the flip side, as we're talking about the other side, I just wanted to share this real quick with the people so they can see how our research and how we've been able to get such profound effects in terms of, and people not thinking, oh, well, this is just something that Enqi is, coming up with, whatever the case. No, this is the researchers at Mount Sinai. They discovered it. It's actually a sister who discovered it, but they're in the lab, in the pharmacy. They're going to sell this to you for $1 million a pill. I, on the other hand, took the research and took it back to the, to the forest, to the rainforest, to the soil, and came with the herbs that we use in the purple phase, the same herbs that we have, the purple lilac, they have the metformin. We also have this harmine in there.
Diabetes is an enormous problem globally and in the United States. 420 million people in the world have diabetes. Approximately a third of the US population has or is at risk for developing diabetes. The chronic complications involve almost every organ. It's the leading cause of blindness in the United States. It's the leading cause of kidney failure. It's the major contributor to heart disease. And if you add all of these things together, diabetes, either directly or indirectly, is probably the second or third most important cause of death in the United States. We need to make advances in the treatment of diabetes. This one, Insulin is the product of normal beta cells. If you had normal beta cells, you'd never need to take insulin or drugs that made you secrete more insulin. So we're trying to simply regrow beta cells in people who have type 1 or type 2 diabetes. 2 or 3 years ago, we identified harmine as a new class of drugs that could make beta cells regenerate at low levels. In this study, we identified a second class of drugs called TGF-beta superfamily inhibitors that's able to induce human beta cells to replicate at rapid rates when given in combination with harmine. And in terms of the actual rates of replication, adult human beta cells replicate at a rate of about 0.2% per day. That's pretty much the same as nothing. With harmine, we were able to get that up to about 2% per day. And now with a combination of harmine plus TGF-beta superfamily inhibitors, we can get that rate up to around 5 to 8% per day. And in some of the pancreatic beta cell preparations we got, it was as high as 15 or 18%. The importance of the study is that it applies to everybody with diabetes, all 30 million people in the United States, whether it's type 1 or type 2, and all 420 million people in the world. 2.5 years ago, we had this many drugs that could make human beta cells regenerate. Now we have actually about 5 or 6 different combinations of drugs that can make human beta cells regenerate at rapid rates. So just in 3 years, we've gone from 0 to 5 to 8%. I would say that over the next few years, this will be translatable to human beings.
Yep.
Thanks, everyone. I'll be quick because I know, Enqi, you've got a very robust.
What is that?
What happened, doctor?
Bang.
Well, now we see how the FDA keeps jobs for the doctors, if you get what I'm saying. They need something to do.
Right.
So they pick and choose what's going to make the problem. They say, hey, You can't just solve it anyway. You got to solve it this way. You feel what I'm saying? So now we see where Dr. C becomes in all this. But that's a whole other conversation.
Dr. Enqi, did you want to share another video?
Or Sebius?
No. We can close out because on Sunday, we're gonna go. I guess we'll get deeper into this conversation because it all ties in oddly enough with my daughter and masonry and why I don't why I try to get people away from the superstitious stuff like chakras and zodiac stuff or astrology. Yeah. So it all ties into where we got to really focus in on because we got problems at hand. And while we dealing with foolishness, there's really a situation like it's sitting right in front of us. All this time, we were looking for some other nefarious plot for global depopulation of brown and black people, and diabetes been there the whole time. And we didn't realize that not knowing simply knowledge of self, even the term knowledge of self can somewhat be misleading because people didn't take the study and knowledge of self further. They took all of the external measurements, like how far the earth is from the sun and things like that. And they learned those things and stopped there. That wasn't the purpose of those things. The purpose of learning those outer measurements was to see how they applied internally. You see what I'm saying? So
absolutely. Doc, we're just about out of time. Before I let you go, can you tell the family who you are and where we can find you at?
I'm Dr. Enqi. You can find me on Crumbtv. But no, you could get the purple phase with the purple lilac and the harmony and all those things on AmericanHealer.website. You can get the free books, free articles, free biochemistry school we have there. So for people that want to learn biochemistry, we have a free biochemistry school online for all ages. You can join up. The clothing line is there. All kinds of good stuff is there. So AmericanHealer.website, not .com, .website is where everything is at.
Absolutely.
Even my Instagram is there. Yeah. Even Instagram stuff is there.
Coolio. Crip Jesus, good brother. Can you close us out by letting us know who you are and where we can find you at?
Crip Jesus, the Blue God. You can go to Holy Crip Jesus on Instagram. However long they let me be there for. Twitter, Crip Jesus Blue God. Or you can best, you know what? CripJesus.com. I'm tired of playing with y'all. Get on that CripJesus.com, man. We about to turn it all the way up because it's too hot for me to give it to the social media. They always banning me. So we putting all exclusive content and we going deeper and deeper and deeper to the big blue sea. That part.
All right, you heard it first here on Crumbtv, family. Cocaine pharaohs, the ancient drug trade, of course, with two of the three kings. Dr. Enqi, put some respect on his name. Crip Jesus, put some respect on his name. And of course, me, your humble brother. Now, I just want to take a second to read the people who support the platform because y'all are really who help keep this thing going. So it wouldn't be right if I didn't put some respect on your name. Aretha, she says, F Haile Selassie. Oh, okay. Absolutely. All fire, all gas, no brakes. Heru, the Duke of the Great Lakes, he said, you doing an exorcism, my Naga. Woo, powerful. Keisha, or Keishia, Keshia. Rainbow Light Warrior, what a name. Scrooge Greedy, he said, wearing the hoodie, we fam forever. Latina, Psych L, Kick Rocks, Gully Goddess. Family, if you want to support the platform, you can simply take $1 or donate $1 to money sign Crumbtv, or you could donate any amount of money for that matter. I just want to put some respect on your name, but you don't have to do that, family. I am not Pastor Porkchop. That's not what this is about. This is about just supporting the platform, and you can do that for free by simply hitting the like button. It only takes a second. It's free. It's easy. It works for the algorithm. It humbles me. So many good things come from it. So you might as well do that now. Not now, but right now. Also, comment, family. Let me know what you think. Cocaine pharaohs. you know, this is all inspired by Crip Jesus. This is very within that realm, family. We about to bring it, you know, this thing that you thought was hood is not as hood as you thought it was. This is all right. You know, just like when y'all be pour out some liquor for the homies. Yeah, I get it. It's hood, but it's not hood. So yeah, shout out to Crip Jesus. I want to leave you. Also, I'm sorry, last but not least, subscribe exactly the way, I'm sorry. I'm thinking about that. I want to leave you. Subscribe, family, not just here, but on my website, crumbtv.info. That's right, family, crumbtv.info. Now, ceremoniously, I want to leave you the exact same way I came to you. You know, I want to keep it within the energy of Crip Jesus. So, shout out to LA Leimert Park. You are now watching Crumbtv.
You are now watching Crumbtv.
You're watching Crumbtv.
This is Prema Asset in Los Angeles, Leimert Park, and you are now watching Crumbtv.
You are watching Crumbtv.
And we're watching Crumbtv.
You are now watching Crumbtv. So subscribe.
I am the Grand Sheikah, Unity Temple number 80, More Science Temple of America, and you are watching Crumbtv.
Yo, this is that kid 179. You're now watching Crumbtv.
Crumbtv.